Thanks, Cahir. Look, first of all, can I congratulate my two colleagues from the constituency of County Limerick, Deputies Collins and O'Donoghue, commiserate with my former colleague, Deputy Neville, on losing his seat in the election, and thank the nearly 9,500 people in County Limerick who voted for me and the nearly 15,000 people who I finished up with. I just want to go and I suppose reflect on a few points in my support for Deputy Leo Varadkar's Taoiseach, and it's particularly on a couple of deputies. First of all, no one won this election. This was a three-way tie for third place, essentially. And if someone had won it, and there's a lot of reference here a while ago to we won and you lost, well, if we won, you'd have formed a government. And the reality is that no one has won. And Deputy Michael McGrath is absolutely right that since 1922, governments have been formed here, not on the basis of, who can come in and give the best speeches on the day of the first day of the Dáil, but rather the mandate that they get from the people. And Deputy Brendan Howland is right as well. It comes down to numbers. And in the last Dáil, the vast majority of people absented themselves from the formation of a government and absented themselves from the responsibility that the people give us under the Constitution. Two parties decided to come together in a confidence and supply arrangement to provide a government. But if you exclude those two parties and you look across the benches of what now is the arithmetic of the rest, you're left with 87 that could form a government here today. And a government could be formed here today. And the President could get a nominee here today for Taoiseach, and ministers could be appointed here later on this evening. But we all know that's not going to happen, because we do know what's going to happen is there will be some people who will abstain. They've been sent up from their constituencies and they're going to abstain. And what does that say to their constituents? We don't have an opinion on the people that have been nominated here this evening to take up such an important role as Taoiseach. And then there's going to be people who will disagree with everybody. And then there are other people who will wait for the phone to ring for somebody else to contact them because they believe it is somebody else's responsibility to try and form a government. It is all of our responsibilities. It is all of our collective responsibilities to try and form a government. And that's why, when I've heard over the last couple of days people referring to, well, we haven't heard from Sinn Féin, or we haven't heard from Fine Gael, or we haven't heard from Fianna Fáil, well, it's up to them as well to take initiative, for them, with their mandate, to be able to say, well, these are the issues that we want prioritised, and nobody should have a hiding place in this Dáil, and nobody should run away from their position in this Dáil, because it is important that a government is formed. And whatever government is formed, and Brendan Howland is absolutely right, it is from the Dáil that the government derives its mandate, and it is from the Dáil that the government derives its responsibility. So over the next however long it takes, to form a government, we all have to be prepared to act responsibly, and we all have to be prepared to say that this country deserves not to go through what it did the last time, when Brendan Howland rightly said the vast majority of people decided to absent themselves and sit on the ditch. We can't afford to have that happen this time again. And that's why, after tonight and the 4 votes are lost and there is an interregnum, in that interregnum, that people would act responsibly and say, we need a government in this country to tackle the issues that all of us want addressed. Gurmagat.